But now I'd like to give floor to Tallinn to introduce a short video.
Yes, there have been many people who were also expressing their thoughts of VASAB and memories of VASAB, and therefore we have made some small short video about VASAB past and the present.
VASAB is the organization which takes care of spatial planning of the, which means of the spatial dimension of development in the region.
VASAB is about planning the future. Planning is always about future, and VASAB is a forum where we can exchange our knowledge, our understanding, our expertise and our experience on spatial issues. And of course, not only on planning, but also on spatial development, which maybe is nowadays more important than it was in the very beginning of VASAB cooperation. It was something very new and unique, because in the Baltic Sea region there had been quite a lot of cooperation on different sectors, but there were not any kind of cooperation on spatial issues, and VASAB was in that sense a pioneering work and pioneering forum for that kind of cooperation.
This was a time of falling of the Iron Curtain. And this was, I think, that's the main motive of Scandinavian countries to bring back their way of thinking to the former Soviet Union part of Europe. And spatial planning was one of this.
It was very interesting, it was very exciting to start a cooperation with people from the countries we had never met in our life, and we didn't know about this other part of our Baltic Sea region.
I don't know whether they realized that planning has a very bad connotation. So I remember when they came to us with the message about planning, we were shocked, because we tried to get rid of it.
It was, yes, something very, very new. We had to change our thinking from this planning which is coordinated from the top level to use that planning can be also organized on local level and regional, and also sure at national.
VASAB is really trying to show that spatial planning is a neutral, horizontal tool. It's stressing it all the time, which is very different from the approaches in many countries.
Of course, we wanted to cooperate. So the first thing was to cooperate and to learn, and to be part of the joint Europe. It was something new. It was exciting, you know, to have a vision, entire vision, and this was also a new planning document, because before in our part we have only plans, and this was a vision.
To my mind, the most important papers have been and still are those vision papers, where VASAB has created a new kind of comprehensive understanding on the long-term future of this region. And those papers, those documents, they are very unique even now. The first paper from 1994, it was some kind of revolution in this area.
It was recognized in this document that there is a need for fast railway line on the eastern side of the Baltic Sea region, and now we have still the same wish and the same need to have this. Now it's called Rail Baltica, this line.
When EU decided to make this money available for Baltic cooperation, from one side it was inspired by VASAB, and from the other it was pushed by VASAB.
I would say that that VASAB's initiative somehow put the sea really on the table for the European countries.
We received money to bring to our table of discussions the really important actors and sectors, because Commission was, I would say, 8 years after us. So this is an unbelievable achievement.
VASAB has very important role, maybe even the main role in coordinating MSP in the Baltic Sea region.
I think that VASAB is playing really very important role as a platform for spatial planners, where they can meet each other and they can exchange experience and knowledge. This network of planners, it's very crucial. It helps planners in each country just to be more confident.
VASAB is not just the cooperation, it could be the friendship between the countries around the Baltic Sea, in the Baltic Sea region, where you can approach your colleagues to ask the things you really are interested in.
My hope is that the VASAB will continue. That's my great hope, for very simple reason, because it's the best and very cheap way that all persons responsible for spatial development in the region, they know each other. And sometimes they must go spend together one day and drink a beer, okay? Very simple, but not very expensive.
VASAB's most important role also in future, and I really believe that it will be an important one, is to increase the understanding of the importance of comprehensive planning and comprehensive development of this kind of region.
VASAB can do now is, I would say, advancement of clear examples, like this maritime spatial planning, that something can be achieved. We must be much more concrete. We should not stay on the conceptual level. We must bring those issues to the stage of realization. Achievement, I would say, it was this maritime spatial planning, because this was done here. It was a first statement. We made a first plan and we implemented it. So it was one of the, I would say, few issues that I can say we put from the conceptual phase into the reality.
We heard the opinions and thoughts of some people on what is the importance of VASAB. What are the main achievements and results of this cooperation? Their personal memories about VASAB as it is. And now, we would like to hear again, what are your thoughts on what is the meaning of VASAB? Sherry, perhaps you could share some personal memories, or tell us what are the main results, main achievements of the organization.
Hey everybody, I'm Jürilas and I was in VASAB cooperation from very beginning up to 2004, I think. I'm extremely sad that Sirkka Hautojärvi is not here. I think we must be very, very thankful to her, because this work that she was doing during a year or 2 years before Tallinn conference was really very, very good and very, very clever work. She pushed us she encouraged us. And I remember how much electricity we had when we had this Öland meet. No, not Bornholm. It was in Ahvenamaa. Åland, yes, in Åland meeting, yes. Marianhamn meeting. It was really, no, I remember, don't remember in my life such meeting as this meeting these days in Marianhamn, where we really think together, try to find solutions, and no, we're able to agree all the things for the end. So I think my Finnish colleagues give forward to Sirkka Haudsajer these thanks, and I hope very much that these are only not my personal thanks, but thanks of all of them who participated on the preparation of this Tallinn report. Thank you.
Thank you, and please.
Thank you. My name is Risto Kärkkäinen. I'm coming from the ministry. I'm not coming, but I was at that time when this VASAB was started, coming from the Finnish Ministry of Environment. And I was stressed that we have to thank the Minister Görel Thurdin for that very quick beginning. It was really come for us out of the blue, the idea from the Swedish side in June 92. And the idea of Swedes was to have the first ministerial meeting in August 92. So those who have been working in the state administration can understand that to prepare the papers for a ministerial meeting within 2 months and without not previous discussions about the matter. So it's quite a short time. But anyway, she managed to collect not all the ministers, but some of them anyway to Karlskrona in August 92. And also we from Finnish side, we saw this opportunity for the new opening in the Baltic Sea area. And so from our point of view, we were not very lucky that the Swedes got this idea first, but we wanted to anyway to support it from the beginning. And we have to thank our minister Sirpa Pietikäinen, who was in charge of spatial planning at that time. So she understood the opportunities which were open at that time. And of course, the first difficult thing was the financing, and then we have to thank the Swedes. They could finance in the Baltic Institute, Östersjö Institute, the first months or perhaps the first year. And also we have to thank the Polish activities. So Jan Kowikovski and Jacek Saucha, we all know them already now. So we have to thank for a very fine activity in the beginning phase. And I must stress that this achievement that we could have the first report signed here in Tallinn 1994. It was not a bad achievement, not a bad operation or project at all. Within 2 years from zero to come to the first report. And after that, there have been many other important projects, but anyway, I see this from a retired point of view this time. I hope that this future will also be lucky for the VASAB. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments, any other personal memories you'd like to share? Does anyone have any thoughts on what were the highlights of VASAB, or what are the highlights, and what were the main achievements?
I'm Niels Østergaard from Denmark. I was active in the VASAB work the first 10 years and responsible for national planning in the Ministry for the Environment. I think Bo, in his presentation, made a very good relationship between the VASAB work and the later Interreg work. And he also told good stories about Ankara, which the new northern part of Europe, and how you could send signals to Africa. But I think there was one more thing you could stress with this early VASAB vision and strategies, the way of going away from the traditional spatial way of thinking functional, place what has to happen on the map instead, which was our old tradition and old-fashioned one. So you broke by VASAB this way of using maps strategic. And to me, it was a learning process which we could take home nationally and put into our own traditions. We even years later invented it in the planning legislation. But there's another measure, and that is a point I want to stress and why I'm standing up, is that because VASAB was so early in cooperation on borderlines, it was an inspiration in the work of the ESDP, the European Spatial Development Perspective. We were highlighted in that document, and so to say paid something back to Southern Europe to understand this way of thinking, and also the regional studies which was done in the Commission in the 90s reflected the way of handling data in the VASAB. In that way, I think you brought the way of work, the early ice-breaking way, further, and the ESDP is old times too nowadays, but it brought the vision way into, we forgot to speak about physical planning and when to use the wording development, vision and strategies, which is so important nowadays when things move faster than before. Thank you.
Thank you. VASAB really was a pioneer in its own field, a pioneer that was an inspiration to others as well. But now we have some more time for reflections and comments. Is there anyone? Yes, please.
Thank you very much indeed. And thank you for inviting me to this meeting. I've been looking forward to go to Tallinn for many weeks now, and I'm happy to be able to be here with you all. I would just shortly like to add to what Mr. Östergaard just said, that VASAB has not just been beneficial for the Baltic Sea region itself, it has been a role model for others as well. And I would like to, just to prove that, I would like to share with you a glimpse from the first Swedish presidency of the European Union in 2001. During that period, we organized a big meeting in Brussels between EU 15, as it was by then, and all neighboring countries to the European Union. And that meant that it was a bit more than 50 countries invited to that conference, a bit more than 40 countries came to the conference, and all of us, we discussed spatial development and spatial planning, and how to cooperate within the European Union and with all European neighbors. At that conference, the concept of macro-regions were created, in a way. And as a basis for the discussions there, and as a basis for coming up with this macro-region concept, the VASAB experiences were presented. And they were presented by Mrs. Helle Fischer at that conference. And it was a
successful presentations, and it was followed by standing ovations there. And experienced planners, as the French, for instance, they were astonished by what we were doing up in the north, in the Baltic Sea region. So, just to prove that VASAB has a bigger role than being good for ourselves, we are good for others as well. Thank you.
Thank you for the comment. And now here.
Just one, I don't know if I told you who I am. I am Mr. Ole Lundgren from Sweden, and I'm retired from the Ministry of whatever it is. Enterprise in Sweden. Enterprise and communication and energy in Sweden.
Thank you for the clarification. But now, please.
Well, thank you. I think it's working. Oh, yes. Well, I started with VASAB those 20 years ago. So I was in the first meeting of CSD in Warsaw. And somehow I feel that somebody is trying to make me older than I feel myself. But if I look back what I managed to take from VASAB and what VASAB gave to all of us, I could say it's not so sizable when you work every day, when you exchange letters, but when later you come to see what it contributed to you personally and to your country, I'd say it's quite a lot. When we speak, if VASAB can be treated as some kind of important activity, or if it can be treated as something like issue which pushed Europe also as such, I would say it could be treated like that, because I just remember when VASAB was produced, after that there was such a document, Vision Planet. If somebody can remember it, it was south of Europe, but can you see it now? No, but VASAB is here. So somebody tried, but maybe not so well thought about the structure of cooperation. I just recall, for instance, this Interreg issue. The Interreg 2C was established, and first time it went over the borders of actual, for that time, EU members, and just because VASAB was in place. So you got Interreg 2C with participation of non-EU members for the first time. But when the Interreg 2C was finalized and Interreg 3B had to start, there was a discussion organized by the Commission how to reform the borders of all of Europe for these Interregs. So lots of countries agreed with possible reformation, but not the Baltic Sea region. All the Baltic Sea region countries, one by one, stood up and said, no, we want these same borders. We are working well and we'll keep that further on. So I can say it gave our own Baltic Sea region identity, and that is very clear to be seen. Even those advanced countries, one could say, those who had much experience in planning, had, I understand, such an impetus from activities in the Baltic Sea region, because I still remember Swedish leader Gösta Blucher. He initiated, to my best memories, Sweden 2009 to be prepared. Even now it is, I guess, something of a star for Sweden, because I don't see yet Swedish national spatial planning document. So if we think whether VASAB is really making some inputs of the future thinking for whole of Europe, yes, it does, because maritime spatial planning is boiling here in the Baltic Sea region, and Commission representatives come to us and sit in VASAB Helcom Maritime Spatial Planning Group, trying to catch ideas for first for the directive and then for its implementation. So it's again, we're not only first with VASAB 2010, we are now first with VASAB Maritime Spatial Planning. And of course, I can't forget to say thank you to VASAB for learning, for chairing the country's cooperation, because starting with VASAB and chairing EU, it was quite a good help and experience. So thank you. I have the same fault as my colleague from Sweden. I am Aleksandras Gordevičius, and that's Lithuania.
Thank you. And we have time for one more reflection. So,
my name is Bernhard Heinrichs, Germany. What I wanted to say mainly, Alexandra has said already, so I can be very short. You touched, I think, for me, this crucial point of this Baltic Sea identity. And I think that is the main reason why VASAB was, and hopefully is, still successful. There always mentioned this relation between VASAB work and then Interreg work. This VASAB vision of '94 was not financed by the EU. It was done by the members here, so it was the strong will. And you mentioned this parallel vision planet of this beautiful Katsis area from the southern border of the Baltic Sea up to island of Crete, a very functional area. You are right, it did not work. It was financed by EU, probably without finance from EU they wouldn't have done it. So why did we it? We did it because we felt we have an identity, we have common interests, and this will work. And I think this is the main important thing, that we look at our common interests and defend them even now in the greater family of the EU, so that the interests of this part of Europe can be heard. And I think that is the reason why VASAB is so successful. Thank you.